You've decided to build a multi-GPU rig for AI. 4 RTX 3090s, 96 gigabytes of VRAM, the ability to run 70 billion parameter models locally. But here's the question most people skip. What do you put those GPUs on? We published two complete build guides, a $3,500 budget build using consumer parts and a $4,300 pro tier build using server-grade infrastructure. Both run the same GPUs and the same software. The difference is the motherboard, CPU, RAM, and what those choices mean for the next 3 to 5 years. Let's start with the specs. The budget build uses the ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus, a consumer mining motherboard with 6 PCIe slots paired with an Intel Celeron CPU and 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. Power comes from dual-server PSUs with breakout boards. Total cost about $3,500. The Pro build swaps that consumer foundation for the ASRock Rack Romet 82T, a server-grade motherboard with 7 PCIe 4.0x16 slots, an AMD EPYC processor, 32 gigs of ECC RAM, and a single clean 1600-watt ATX power supply. Total cost about $4,300. Now here's the key differentiator, the GPU upgrade path. The budget board connects each GPU through USB risers running PCIe 3.0 by 1. That delivers roughly 1 gigabyte per second of bandwidth per GPU. For RTX 3090s doing inference, this works fine. The GPU does its computation locally in VRAM and only sends small results back over PCIe. But future GPUs are a different story. The RTX 5090 is a PCIe 5.0 card. The NVIDIA Pro 6000 expects PCIe 4.0 by 16 at minimum. Plugging these into a PCIe 3.0 by 1 slot means severe bandwidth bottlenecks. You'd be running a $2,000 GPU through a straw. The Pro board's PCIe 4.0 by 16 delivers 32 gigabytes per second per GPU. That's a 32 times difference. When next-gen GPUs arrive, you pull out a 3090, slot in the new card, and it runs at full speed. No motherboard swap needed. Beyond PCIe, the Pro tier adds 3 more advantages. First, IPMI remote management, a dedicated hardware controller that lets you power on, reboot, access BIOS, and monitor your rig from any web browser, even when the OS is completely crashed. Essential for headless 24/7 operation. Second, dual 10 gigabit Ethernet built right in. Transfer a 70 gigabyte model in 56 seconds instead of 9 minutes. Serve inference to your whole team, not just yourself. Third, ECC memory, error-correcting RAM that automatically catches and fixes bit flips. Over months of 24/7 operation, consumer RAM will occasionally produce undetected errors. ECC prevents silent data corruption in your model weights. So what about cost? The gap is $827, roughly the price of one RTX 3090. The GPUs are identical in both builds and account for 70 to 86% of total cost. That $800 premium buys you server-grade infrastructure that protects your entire GPU investment. Can you start with the budget build and upgrade later? Technically, yes, but it's expensive. You'd need to replace the motherboard, CPU, and RAM. About $819 in new parts, plus roughly $237 of wasted old components. That totals over $1,000 compared to spending $827 more upfront. Here's our decision framework. Pick the budget build if you want the absolute lowest entry cost, you're primarily doing inference, you don't plan to upgrade beyond RTX 3090s, and physical access to the rig is easy. Pick the Pro tier if there's any chance you'll upgrade GPUs in the next 3 to 5 years, you're running 24/7, you need remote management, you do training or fine-tuning, or you're serving a team. The bottom line, the motherboard is the foundation. Budget saves $800 up front, but locks you into current-gen GPUs. Pro costs more, but is future-proof. If there's any chance you'll upgrade GPUs in the next 3 to 5 years, go Pro. Pick right T.